Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like...
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cuervo.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
It's too bad Jeremy's not here. I don't know why he's not here. I was just going to go to the Shakira story that he so badly wants to tell anybody, but he's not here, so we're not going to be able to do that. That's unfortunate. Zaslow has created some tensions around here, and what are you shrugging your shoulders about?
I mean, it is what it is. I'm just living my life.
Who's he created tensions with?
Well, you have some stuff with him.
I don't have anything with him. I like him.
Okay, that's been alleged. And I would say that Greg Cody has some problems with him. And I would also say that now the audience...
Journalistic beef.
The audience also has some problems with Zaslow because... Earlier in the show, David Stassen was on with us, and Zaslow said one thing to his face, and I alleged that he had said something about Stassen being a swindler, and Zaslow said we would not be able to find the sound, and then I was a lonely Kentucky Fried Chicken because nobody believed me, and I've been told we have found a sound, and so now I just want to get the nature of the dispute out in front of people because Zaslow has said he never said what we accused him of saying. So, Chris Cody, what is the sound that has been found by our researcher?
We have a sound that is from the end of March.
Ass sound?
We have a ass sound from the end of March, and you're going to hear the first 35 seconds here and think it's today's show because he goes into the thing of, like, my son, impressed that I'm on. I'm telling you,
yes.
I want to overlap today's show because it's. I didn't believe it was an old show.
He's a radio professional, and you could have heard all of these thoughts on The Starting Point with Brian Scalabrine and Frank Isola yesterday because he can do things on repeat. He's a good radio person. He's a rising star at ESPN Radio.
Starting lineup, that's a fine.
What did I say?
You said starting point.
So you're going to hear a 50-second clip here, and then 45 seconds in, I think we're going to get the quote you want.
All right, well, hold on a second. So let's just make the allegation clear. I am saying that when Zaslow talked with David Stassen, whose company he has enjoyed, it is without David Stassen having the knowledge that Zaslow has called him a swindler in the past. And Zaslow is claiming he's never done that.
I don't think it's true.
Okay, so he's saying it's not in any way true, but when introducing your son to our audience and your son's feelings about David Stassen because of what he's done to the Marlins, you put a framing on it that was positive as if you've never said anything bad about David Stassen. But what you actually told your son, I think, is that he's a swindler who built the Marlins in Miami for millions.
I'm going to ask you, in this clip that you're playing here, am I telling my son why people don't like him? Or am I saying why I don't like him?
Your son's appraisal of David Stassen is that he's a swindler and a liar based on what his father has told him.
All right, I'd like to hear this. My son's at an age at 16 where his friends, they're all on social media, and his friends say, hey, look at this clip. It's your dad on the Le Batard Show, the other day. And okay, my son's not that impressed with it, but he then sees, he looks at the comments, and my son said, goes, I gotta tell you, the comments, people really liked you. And I go, it'll even out. All right, don't worry about that. And then he says, I'll tell you who they don't like. And I'm like, oh, okay. Who? He goes, that Stassen guy. And so I laughed. And he doesn't know who he is, though. I said, you know who David Stassen is? Like, he thinks he's just a personality on your show. And I guess that makes sense. If you're 16 and David Stassen hasn't been the president of the Marlins in, 7 years? Like, it makes sense. Like, yeah, he was the president of the Marlins. He swindled the city and got the stadium. Like, everybody hates him. They're cheap, whatever. But he...
those were the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, those are the...
That's it.
That's what you lead with, right?
$2 billion FU.
Yeah, so he has been introduced to David. You know what they don't like? That Samson guy.
He swindled the city.
So again, that's not me saying that. That's why people don't like him, because they believe he swindled the city.
But you said it.
I'm giving him the reason why people don't like him. I don't believe that.
Zaz is just the messenger. Exactly. Why are you guys blaming the messenger?
It's like, why do they hate him? Well, because they think this. That doesn't mean I think it.
He didn't say it's because he swindled the city.
Right.
He said it's because they think he swindled the city.
Yeah.
I'm with Zaz here. What's this witch hunt we're doing?
The Boost mobile phone line is a subject of great ridicule by me. It has slightly improved. It is still not yet good. Let's find out.
Before we even play this, you are so off base on this.
So wrong.
You are so you are loud wrong on this.
You're the
Dan.
only one that doesn't
They're
like it.
good, man. They're good, and they're getting better.
The Boost Mobile boldest take from the weekend is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
Josh on the payphone. A long sleeve shirt with shorts is a much better combination than a short sleeve shirt with pants. I'll hang up and listen.
Keith from New York. Long time, first time. Sharp cheddar tastes better at the end than it does at the front of the bite. Second half cheese.
Hey guys, Dennis from Charlotte. Real simple. Sean Payton is one onside kick away from being Jeff Fisher. I'll hang up and listen.
Ooh.
This is Alec from Cleveland. Best place to fart in public, Disney World by far.
Hey, this is Ben on a bicycle phone. You know, they say when people are hesitating, they hem and haw. Can you hem without hawing? Can you haw without hemming? I'll hang up and listen.
Hey, this is Tate from Nashville. In honor of the draft, I've got a limited fake Sean Connery scouting Travis Hunter. He's played both sides.
Hey, this is Steve in Pittsburgh. My boldest take is that a spoon and a knife are the only utensils that you need. A spoon can do everything that a fork can, but a fork can't do anything that a spoon can. Thanks. I'll hang up and listen.
This is AJ from Indianapolis, and this is my limited fake Dan Le Batard.
No! I can't believe you took Duncan over Hibbert.
That's a good badge.
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, Dan. You've been trying to hate on this thing.
That's
These
a
people
good
have been
badge.
bringing it.
Forks are overrated.
The sharp cheddar guy, he's onto something.
First of all, to the spoon versus fork guy, that's my dad. My dad is like, why do you need a fork?
For real.
Everything. He just spoons all the time. I'm like, I want a fork.
Maybe pancakes you need a fork for, but like most things you can get away with a spoon. Pasta.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you get away with never using a fork your entire life?
Best place to fart is Disneyland or Disney World because, of course, Chris.
Airplane.
No.
That's the worst.
Diabolical.
What a monster.
No one hear you. Like you could go for days. No one hears a thing.
Oh, the point is you do it at Disney.
You're in a tube stuck with people.
Everyone loves their own brand.
But what about everyone else's brand?
I like to see the look of other people. Like, it's like, and then you give them a look like I smell it too.
Chris, you do it at Disneyland when you're in line because no one will blame an adult. We'll just assume it's one of these little turds here.
That's true. A lot of kids to blame.
I think there's a difference that you can smell the difference. Do I have this wrong between adult farts and child farts? No. Do I have this wrong?
Yes, you do.
I need to introduce you to my children.
Yeah, change the diaper.
I'd really
and you'll
rather
see.
not be.
Dude, children are so foul, it's disgusting.
I don't want to take it to toilet humor, but my child clogged the toilet so bad. When I looked inside, I thought it was an alligator. I thought it was the snout of an alligator coming out of it. I was like, how?
There's no way you actually thought it was an alligator.
Dude, I'm telling you, the shape and the size, the sheer size. That was not a log. That was something.
Thought of texting Ron.
Absolutely. I pulled my phone out.
No, I think Chris is right. I want to know for how long you thought of it. You thought to yourself, is this an alligator?
I walked in.
Whoa!
I said, what's going on? It's like, oh, the toilet won't flush. I'm like, what's wrong? And I looked inside, and I saw like kind of like the snout. You know how like in the movies they come out the water like this? That's what I saw staring back at me. Like, ah! And then I looked at it like, oh, no.
David Stassen joins us now. I can't imagine how he's been absorbing this. Okay, this is one of Hollywood's great showrunners. You've got two movies on his resume that Zaslow loves. Two of them, Central Intelligence and Blockers. The Mindy Project is wildly popular, and he's now got a series on Netflix. What are you laughing about, Billy?
Well, which one surprised you there? Was it Central Intelligence or Blockers? Because you seemed surprised when we said we like two of your movies.
He did seem surprised that Zaslow was such a big fan of both of those movies. Why were you surprised, and what did you make of the conversation that you walked in on where one of Amin's children had clogged a toilet so badly that Amin, his father, thought it was an alligator in the toilet?
Yeah, I mean, that's the classic comedian's worst nightmares to come in after a great bit. And I feel like I came in after an amazing story. Well done. No, as a writer, I'm just surprised anyone ever knows anything about me. So I was just cool to hear those movies I worked on.
Zaslow, you want to tell the man? I am more interested in the gutter parts of your story that involve working on the Jim Rome show and pardon the interruption. But Zaslow has questions about your actual success.
Yeah, I love those movies so much. So let's start with Blockers, though. Blockers, it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, but it is filthy raunchy. So what's the age where you should not be watching with your teenage son?
He's got two sons. How old are your sons?
16 and 13. And my wife and I, who love this movie, we watched it with our son probably when he was 14. Is that too young?
I think you're good. I think you're good at 14. I was going to say 13 would be I think the youngest I would go. Now, when I was a kid, I mean, I was watching The Predator and Commando when I was like 7 years old. So I was seeing people's guts being torn out of their bodies. But now I think we're all more careful. I think 13 for Blockers is good.
I got a quick question for you. My whole life, I've thought the movie was called Blockers. Is it unofficially Blockers, but because of like censorship, we got to call it Blockers? Or is it Blockers and you guys are always just doing a wink thing?
It was the original title was Blockers. And then I think they changed it to then they workshopped a few titles before I came on board. I think Roosters might have been one of them. And we were on set we're like, no, there's no way it can be Roosters. What's the tagline is going to be like cock-a-doodle-doo. So then they just went with Blockers, and it worked out because everyone on this on this session here has found the movie.
Do you want to talk to him about Central Intelligence? I imagine the Mindy Project is the thing that you've done that's gotten the most critical acclaim.
It's definitely up there. It's beloved, and it's one of those things where once it gets on Netflix, it has a second and third life, and younger people start to find it. And Running Point, which just came out a couple months ago, has been most recently just because it's first run on Netflix, just the reach is incredible. And I've never had more people reach out to me about anything than Running Point.
When you wrote or co-wrote Central Intelligence, do you have The Rock and Kevin Hart in mind for those roles while you're writing it?
We wrote it, actually, it took 7 or 8 years to get made. So when we wrote it, we were picturing we kept pitching it as Fat Jason Bourne, and we are obsessed, Ike and I are obsessed with Danny McBride. So we were always picturing it was like Ed Helms and Danny McBride. And then the movie was bought and sold to another studio, and we took about 3 other jobs in between and stopped caring about it and thought it would never get made. And then we had lunch with Rawson Thurber, the director of it, and he was like, I'm going to get The Rock and Kevin Hart attached. And we were like, all right, well, good luck with that. And he did it.
What was Rock like working with on a comedy?
Super nice guy. I was only on set a little bit. I actually have a little cameo in the movie. I'm at the high school reunion at the very end of the movie. And I was on set that day. But The Rock, that's his nude scene. That's where he strips down on stage. And you know how those guys are, like I don't think he'd had water in like a week. He had not eaten, and he had a long speech in that moment. So he was very nice. Like, they introduced me as the writer of the movie, but he also was locked into being nude and having to make a long speech in front of a high school gym of 400 people.
You're being nice, and this is a very kind story, the way that he's telling it. There's no way under that circumstance that The Rock wanted to talk to you or wanted you anywhere near him. And so he was nice under the circumstances, but he would have wanted to tell you to bleep off.
Yeah, exactly. That's how nice of a guy he is. He was probably going through some sort of like low blood sugar, chemical withdrawal, memorizing a page of dialogue, and had to meet some guy they flew in from LA for one line in the movie. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Oh,
no, you're good.
Oh, yeah, scandalous. One of the writers for Blockers has said a word that we don't like around here. So sorry.
How is the Rock's package?
There it is.
We should all see his next movie. We'll get another view of it.
Really?
Chris, can you get the timing right on Wild Willie Wednesdays? It's never been more appropriate. The Wild Willie question. Please put it in every Wednesday.
David, I grew up in a household where Mel Brooks was a staple. I had watched all the movies, among them History of the World Part 1. You were the showrunner for History of the World Part 2, which is on Hulu. My question to you is, A, how did that come about for you? And B, was there any point where you were like, holy shit, I got to do this Mel Brooks thing? And that's a lot of pressure, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure. It's still surreal to think that I got to work with Mel Brooks. Like you, I grew up. I call him my first babysitter. My parents would go out or have people over, and it was just a couple of VHS tapes. Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, History of the World. So there was some pressure. But Mel is the nicest, sweetest man in the world. When we first met with him, he said, "I'm only doing the show for the health insurance." And I was like, okay, this guy's 95 years old. He's still got it. And Nick Kroll had met with Mel and talked about this idea. And so Nick then Nick wanted some comedy partners on it to help write the show. And he brought Ike and me aboard to do it. And that was still a dream come true.
How was Mel's package?
Mel, he's packing.
Yeah. I didn't know, but I'm glad we were able to confirm it. Confirm it.
Dano.
Whoa! I wanted to ask him. Thank you. I wanted to ask him about Running Point, as he mentioned, because it's Jeannie Buss, it's Kate Hudson. The Lakers story continues to be mined for gold everywhere, and I was curious about how some of this got made. Jeannie Buss is forthcoming with all parts of her story here. How much of this is fictionalized, and how much to you feels like it's just Jeannie Buss turned up to 10?
Well, we're definitely using her kind of life story as inspiration, but we wanted to make it not like Winning Time, which Winning Time is great, but we weren't doing a biography. And Mindy and Ike and me are all just comedy writers first, and much lean much more towards 30 Rock or Arrested Development or Righteous Gemstones than capturing the exact history of something. So it's a loose representation of what the Buss family is, but really we've created this world and these characters and this made up team. So we've been able to do it our own way. But Jeannie is super open. I mean, she tells us stories and we try and, tweak them to make them funny and make them our own. But she and Linda Rambis, who's also a producer on the show, they are just incredible partners.
Can you help me understand Jeannie Buss? I don't know what her relationship is or was with Jay Moore or with comedy, but I believe she's got a special relationship with specifically comedy, does she not?
Yeah, she loves comedy. She loves stand-up. She is married to Jay Moore. That's the relationship I know of. And yeah, she and Linda, because I think they work in this pressure cooker, all they do when they're free is watch comedies. They've seen every half-hour comedy that's come out in the last 20 years. They're just huge comedy fans, and that's why they always felt like, oh, we're two women running an NBA team. Our lives are crazy. It'd be a funny TV show.
Was Chet Hanks the number one get? Were you like, all right, we're going to go for Chet Hanks, and if he doesn't show up, we're screwed?
Chet was brought to us by our casting director, Kim Coleman, and it was perfect. It was right away. It was like, it's got to be Chet. He said this part was literally written for me. If I don't get it, I should kill myself. And so we kind of had to give it to him.
I hope.
That seems dramatic. It's the first season of Running Point. It is streaming now on Netflix, which is in more disarray, weirdness, and general uncertainty right now. Hollywood, the sports media, or your Chicago Bulls?
Ooh. Oh man. I'm gonna say Hollywood. The Bulls have a couple pieces. I would give almost all of them up for Giannis. And
all of them. You'd give all of them up for Giannis, not almost all of them. You'd give all of them up.
Fair enough. But then we're just the Bucks.
That wouldn't be a bad thing to be if you were properly managed.
Okay, you're the Bulls, right? Like, hold on.
Congratulations, you're the Bulls.
Being the Bucks is like a dream come true.
True. I would take Giannis for the whole squad.
Is the cereal still in the Wheaties box above your left shoulder?
That is an unopened box from 1991 that I have in a special case. I bought it when the Bulls won their first championship, and yeah, there are unopened Wheaties in there.
I'm sorry, David. What year was that from? You said 1991. 1991.
That's
See,
a fan.
That's a collectible. Yeah. That's a fan, Zaz. Our good friend Jonathan Zazzle wants to bring in his most prized possessions. He brings us T-shirts from like 2019. I'm like, these are not collectibles. They're just T-shirts in the rotation.
Yeah. You can't see it, but I also have a 92 Dream Team Jordan autograph jersey.
92.
Is there any way, I don't know how much do you value that Wheaties box? Like, what would we have to do in order to get you to try and eat a piece of 30-year-old cereal?
I think I need like a producer credit going forward on the show.
We give those out like
how you do.
Skittles, man.
You're such an easy negotiation. It seems like we are now in a negotiation that will make you eat from that box right now. At the end of today's show, you will get a producer credit.
Well, I think I need this is why I have an agent, because I'm a bad.
We
almost had him.
No, we did have him. No, that should be orally binding, and now he's backing out. What do you mean we almost had him? We did have him, and then he realized, wait, they let all the producers talk around here. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, that's what he realized. Can we talk for a moment before you go about your PTI Sports Radio Jim Rome days?
Yeah, absolutely. I was finishing grad school in LA for screenwriting and got a letter in the mail that I owed money for student loans. And I said, oh, crap, like I need a job. And the great Eric Rydholm hired me all the way across the country to be a PA on PTI. And I moved to DC and worked on PTI and Around the Horn for a couple of years. And it was the most fun I've ever had. It was like working in a sports bar with, Tony and Wilbon just swearing all morning as they kind of like molded their arguments in the newsroom. And I wanted to get back to screenwriting, so moved back to LA, and Eric hooked me up with producer at Jim Rome is Burning. And I did that in the mornings while I continued to write in the afternoons until we sold Central Intelligence, actually.
Were you ever scared of Tony?
Early on, because I was a very, young, poor guy living in DC, they'd bring in a catering before the show every day. And I would always grab a sandwich and shove it in my bag as I left. And they did come up to me one day and they're just, hey, just so you know, let Tony pick his sandwich first before you put one in your backpack. And so, yeah, Tony was a little more intimidating than Wilbon. Wilbon's from Chicago. He used to get me Bulls tickets when they were playing the Wizards. And we both went to Northwestern. Tony was a little more intimidating.
The Jim Rome experience different than that, right? It's not quite as, I wouldn't imagine the community is locked in arms, laughing and singing toward the sky there.
No, there's definitely more of a separation of church and state. We would stick in our editing dungeon and work on the clips and never see the light of day.
Were you allowed to look him in the eye?
Yeah, I was. I didn't do it too often, but yeah.
Were you allowed to call him Jim?
I don't think I ever called him Jim.
Mr. Rome?
Mr. Rome, sir.
Sir. So you were scared of him?
Well, he was an intense guy. He takes his job very seriously. Look, what am I going to say? Like,
I'm not. You did. I put you in a bad spot there. No, I'm. The only reason I'm laughing is because knowing the two environments and knowing how much I love the environment backstage at Pardon the Interruption, I can see how a communal show would be much different than writing for one person who's doing one show as one voice. Those are very different projects, and so I put you in a bad spot, but I did it on purpose.
Yeah, no worries. We still actually had fun on Jim Rome. It was still a great group of people, in our little hole.
Do you miss anything about the sports beginnings?
No, I mean, I loved it. And I feel like I kind of burned out on sports because it was so full time, and now I can watch it more as a casual. Like, also having the Bulls won all their titles, I don't really care what happens anymore. I'm a Bulls fan, but I can enjoy all NBA now.
Wow, what a great position. Did you hear that position as a sports fan? To win so much that I no longer care about sports because I've had my fill. I've moved on to other things.
Dog, he's got a 93 box of Wheaties, or 91 box of Wheaties behind him. What more do you want?
Nothing again will feel that good.
It can't.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it was incredible. It was the best ever. It was probably like living in New York in 1922 when Babe Ruth was hitting homers, and nothing will be better. So I can just enjoy the NBA now, every game.
David, thank you. We appreciate the time. I do recommend Running Point, the new comedy series on Netflix. These folks do nothing but good work, so I would recommend it to you strongly. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Really fun.
Next time we'll talk about The Oath.
Yes.
Thank you for being
quite the
on
endorsement
with us.
on that at the end.
Yes. It just,
yes.
Yeah, you got a thumbs up.
Hey, you in the audience. It's Mike. You've been a fan of this show, hopefully, for a long time, and you know how much Miller Lite means to me. This partnership, it's real. It's documented. For almost 20 years, Miller Lite has been a partner of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, and now Miller Lite is celebrating its 50th anniversary. I've had so many great moments with Miller Lite, so many great activations, so many great events presented by Miller Lite, a great partner. Cheers to them. Cheers to 50 incredible years. And for you at home, you know that Miller time always means a good time. From game night to parties with friends or a special anniversary, celebrating important occasions means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great-tasting light beer for people who love beer since 1975. Now's a perfect time to celebrate legendary stories with friends, family, and a great-tasting light beer. It's Miller time. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Hey, it's Roy, and at the ripe old age of 40, I'm gearing up to learn how to play hockey. I emphasize ripe old age of 40 because I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm tired all the time, I haven't been working out as much, so I'm going to need to build muscle and have the energy to accomplish this goal. What's going to help is this drink that I've been enjoying lately called Huel. It tastes great and has been helping me while exercising. You'll enjoy it too. New customers visit Huel.com/Dan today and use my code DAN to get 15% off your first order, plus a free gift. The Huel Black Edition Ready to Drink is high in protein with 35 grams, it's low in sugar, and it has 27 vitamins and minerals to help build the rest of your body. It's better and cheaper than any cup of coffee. Don't feel like cooking? Grab a bottle of Huel. It tastes great, so you'll definitely love it. Be a new customer today and visit Huel.com/Dan. Use code DAN and you'll get 15% off your first order plus a free gift.
Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan, and if you're watching our show, you've probably known your boy has undergone a little bit of a body transformation, and I gotta tell you, Peloton has helped me on my fitness journey. It got the ball rolling for me because I watch my wife on the Peloton. She takes all these great classes. She has her favorite instructors. I listen to the music. I'm a big music guy. It gets me fired up, makes me want to take part in this fitness phenomenon known as Peloton. Peloton offers a variety of challenging classes, from 4-week strength building classes to running, cycling, and everything in between. Peloton will help you achieve your goals, and maybe you'll have some fun along the way. I know I have. It's backed by thousands of members whose lives have been changed. Be part of that group. Telling you, I'm better for it. Have it in my office. Sometimes I can put on the baseball game. Sometimes I can put on a soccer match. Some other times I'm totally locked in on an emo playlist. Find your push. Find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
Dan Le Batard.
You getting started on the breakfast flan?
Oh man, I've been singing a song to myself all morning long. Breakfast flan.
Stugotz.
Have you never heard the breakfast flan song?
No, hit me with it.
Okay. I wish I had some breakfast flan. Breakfast flan. Where can I find a breakfast like that?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
The conversation he walked in on of Amin and his child clogging a toilet that began with not to go too deep into the woods on toilet humor here, that then became a alligator.
I believe the first thing he heard was, can you smell the difference between an adult and a child?
I still would put that on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is there a difference in the smell?
You have to smell like children waste, Dan. Like, it is
No.
so foul.
I'm not saying waste. I'm saying the farts of children versus the farts of adults. Is there a scent difference that would make you in a Disney World line be able to accuse a 6-year-old instead of his lumberjack of a 340-pound father with the turkey leg in his hand?
But do you think like you grow up and you get a smelly bone and the kid's smelly bone just hasn't come in yet?
I think
a fart's a fart.
I think a kid's fart either smells like the mom or the dad. Like
What?
my wife,
absolutely not.
My wife has said that my daughter's farts smell like my farts.
I could see that actually, like genetic fart smell.
Dude, you just been given the gift from heaven. Yeah. Anytime you're around your kid
Easy
and it's
out.
it was her, man. I didn't do it. Come on.
You think I haven't done that?
You think that's what heaven gives as gifts?
The biggest dad move there is you fart and you go, Graceland, why'd you fart? You guys don't do this?
No, the biggest dad move is, what was that sound? You do that like, hey, did you guys hear that?
Billy, I would like tomorrow on the show or next Wild Willy Wednesday to put adult poop, baby poop, and dog poop in front of you, and you pick which is which.
Pepsi challenge?
Blindfolded, yes.
Okay, no.
Blindfolded.
I have baby poop if you want.
That's too bad. Wild Willy Wednesday needs to be wilder.
I can provide the human poop, the adult poop.
You live in Arizona.
I do.
There are no alligators or crocodiles that are native to Arizona. So did you think this one was like on a long journey to your toilet?
Hey, man, the pipes. It's all pipes.
It's all pipes.
So you think that from somewhere an alligator just crawled in pipes and made all the way to your home in Arizona?
It happens in South Florida with snakes, iguanas. Like these are things that are frogs.
Are in Florida. There are no crocodiles and alligators in Arizona.
I think you're missing the point. It's all pipes. It's all connected.
Yeah, but they're not pipes big enough for alligators.
You'd be surprised at what Dude, you see videos like Komodo dragons come out of toilets. Like, it's crazy what can fit in pipes.
Maybe it was a Komodo dragon.
Maybe.
I wanted to ask you about where it is that we are placing Jamal Murray on the pantheon of performers when I've been telling you here, and it's a tricky thing to trust James Harden, and it's a trickier thing to trust the Clippers. I've been telling you that I believe that team for 2 seasons now is championship good if healthy. They run into the best player in the league. When James Harden was asked recently who should win the MVP, he said we'd all like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to win, but of course, Jokic is the best player. He's obviously the best player. Last night, Jokic, again, controls the basketball game in a way that is super strange and allows us and allows Jamal Murray to enjoy the heightened excellence of what it gets to be when you're the number 2 guy who doesn't ever have the number 1 guy responsibilities, and you can occasionally put up the 36 because he's going for a triple-double, 13 points, and that's the day they decide he's just going to pass the ball and allow Jamal Murray to be a player that generally he's not. I mean, he is not. I don't believe that Jamal Murray without Jokic would be putting up a great many 40-point games. I believe he's afforded what he's and not that. How many 40-point games has Jamal Murray put up in his career? Is it 5? You'd say? What would you
regular
guess?
Season?
Just all total. I would say that if he's done that, he may have done it more than 5 times, but I don't think of him as a player in Game 5. Even as someone who saw him in the bubble and says that first-round playoff series of Jamal and Jokic playing together is the best basketball I've ever seen. Him playing against Donovan Mitchell and Utah, because it was that unstoppable. Those two guys was that unstoppable.
Jamal Murray has 6 games of 40-plus points in the playoffs alone.
Okay, but for his career, I bet you it's not a ton more than that. Like I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess that this guy is putting up something that would resemble Jimmy Butler if Jimmy Butler didn't exist, in terms of what he does in the postseason versus what he's doing in the regular season, and what that buys you in reputation when the next 2 games, nobody trusts James Harden in the next 2 games. Like, there's nobody listening to this, nobody, who will say that I trust that James Harden in these next 2 games isn't going to put up what he just put up there when they needed him to do something.
He also has 6 40-plus point games in his regular season career. So there is a stark difference between the efficiency on that in the playoffs and the regular season.
I think, first of all, this goes back to what Jeremy was talking about earlier about the need for consistency and not making rash decisions. Murray and Jokic have something special. Like, that's not just, because he plays with a great player.
That's Stockton Malone.
Yes, they are Stockton and Malone. They are Nash and Stoudemire. They have a symmetry and a symbiosis that I think elevates both of them. Obviously, Jokic is a great player. He'd be a great player without Murray. But I think he's a greater player with Murray. They play off of one another so well. At this point, much of these aren't even play calls. It's just telepathy almost, right? And you can throw in Aaron Gordon there as a third. It's like an unconventional big 3. They're not stars on their own right, the other 2, but together they are the formation of something incredibly special and symbiotic. We talk about where are we going to regard Jamal Murray. I said this the year they won the title. Someone was like, he could be an all-star. I'm like, he'll never be an all-star. I said, how could you say that? I said, because look at the Western Conference. Look at who the guards are in the Western Conference. He's always going to be not quite good enough to be regarded as one of the best, but there's a long list of guys, whether it's Monte Ellis, whether it's Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams, Eddie Johnson.
He's better than all those guys, though, no?
I don't know. I think all those guys were really, 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 really good players, but they didn't get the opportunity to play alongside for a long period of time with one of the best ever and create that chemistry. Like, if those guys played with great players, it was always fleeting. It was always like, for a year or 2 I played over here in Indiana with Reggie Miller, or I played a year or 2 over here with Chris Paul, but you never got that, hey, the bulk of my career is being building, not just playing and benefiting, but building something that is so strong you can't recreate it or replicate it in like a season or 2.
You believe, though, that there is a lot of comps for guy who will score 40 points in 6 playoff games, is a champion, and is not an all-star?
Not an all-star makes it harder, for sure. Again, the names that I just dropped are probably the guys.
But I'm saying that if I just give you Jamal Murray statistics and I just show you things being done in important moments on the way to important victories.
Right. No, I mean, look.
Like, that's a player that's remembered for all time if you put up 6 40-point games in the playoffs.
He absolutely, he's made a name for himself. Him and Brunson go back and forth on who is the leader of biggest differential between my career points per game average during regular season and career in the playoffs. And even then, when you say that, Brunson has kind of a sneaky advantage that helps his number in that way, because Brunson started his career as a guy, second-round pick, wasn't even supposed to play. And he would come in spot duty and stuff. And so his regular season numbers are kind of depressed from his time in Dallas, whereas Jamal Murray was a lottery pick and really got the playing time from the beginning. So his jump is actually a more representative. Like, no, he's actually doing way more. But then when you put all those parameters, obviously it gets really hard. You're saying guy who's never been an all-star, guy who has this jump in scoring, and you add in champion. Now you've really narrowed it down. We don't typically see a lot of those.
I think that off of the games yesterday, you're going to have some difficulty finding something that's harder to talk about than the placement of Jamal Murray, given that from StatMuse, he now has more 40-point playoff games than Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Kawhi, Ant, Mitchell, Jokic.
Dan.
Carmelo, Dame, McGrady, Magic, Trey, Oscar Robertson, Paul Pierce, Karl Malone, Jason Tatum.
So, Dan, I'm looking at the list right here. And when I tell you every guy on the list ahead of him is either a Hall of Famer right now or is going to be a Hall of Famer. I think like Devin Booker might be the one where it's like, okay, that's on the cusp. But everyone else on this list, we're talking Steph Curry, we're talking about Rick Barry, we're talking about Russell Westbrook, Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Bernard King, Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, Elgin Baylor, Kevin Durant, Jerry West, LeBron, Michael Jordan. Like, these are the names. These are the names. Shaq is on that list. Iverson's on that list. Kareem. Like I said, the in question, and I think these guys are going to be Hall of Famers eventually, Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler, and there was one, and Jalen Brunson. Those are the questionable names on that list. Everyone else on the list ahead of him is either a Hall of Famer right now or is a surefire Hall of Famer.
And he'll never be an All-Star.
He'll never be an All-Star.
I can't believe that my father saw Mickey Arison leaving the arena in a wig, sunglasses, and a mustache.
Like a ball of wax.
Hey, you in the audience, it's Mike. You've been a fan of this show, hopefully, for a long time, and you know how much Miller Lite means to me. This partnership, it's real. It's documented. For almost 20 years, Miller Lite has been a partner of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, and now Miller Lite is celebrating its 50th anniversary. I've had so many great moments with Miller Lite, so many great activations, so many great events presented by Miller Lite, a great partner. Cheers to them. Cheers to 50 incredible years. And for you at home, you know that Miller time always means a good time. From game night to parties with friends or a special anniversary, celebrating important occasions means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great-tasting light beer for people who love beer since 1975. Now's a perfect time to celebrate legendary stories with friends, family, and a great-tasting light beer. It's Miller time. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Hey, it's Roy, and at the ripe old age of 40, I'm gearing up to learn how to play hockey. I emphasize ripe old age of 40 because I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm tired all the time. I haven't been working out as much. So I'm going to need to build muscle and have the energy to accomplish this goal. What's going to help is this drink that I've been enjoying lately called Huel. It tastes great and has been helping me while exercising. You'll enjoy it too. New customers visit Huel.com/Dan today and use my code DAN to get 15% off your first order plus a free gift.
The Huel Black Edition Ready to Drink
is high in protein with 35 grams, it's low in sugar, and it has 27 vitamins and minerals to help build the rest of your body. It's better and cheaper than any cup of coffee. Don't feel like cooking? Grab a bottle of Huel. It tastes great, so you'll definitely love it. Be a new customer today and visit Huel.com/Dan. Use code DAN and you'll get 15% off your first order plus a free gift.